Welcome to Health Fix. Today we're going to explore a selection of 10 foods which should be avoided in order to cure your eczema, and a second list, which consists of 5 foods to be consumed in limited amounts. Final chapter unveils how to get the most out of both lists of foods. Let's get started. First on our list are dairy products. Milk, cheese, and other dairy products has multiple reasons to be eliminated from our diet. Many people are not able to sufficiently digest dairy products, creating digestive problems, like bloating and inflammation in the gut. Undigested dairy products then also trigger our immune system, further increasing stress in our body. Dairy, especially cheese, is also high in saturated fat, which does negatively impact our gut. If I had to choose only one food group to avoid, dairy products would be my first pick every single time. Consider replacing dairy with plant-based options like almond, coconut, or oat milk. Citrus fruits like oranges, lemons, and grapefruits are very common flare-up triggers for people with eczema. Citrus fruit ordinarily causes your eczema to start itching within an hour after consumption. Fortunately, the itching usually subsides within an hour of onset. Unless you're among the fortunate few who can tolerate citrus fruits without any issues, it's advisable to avoid citrus fruits until your eczema is fully healed. As a replacement, try incorporating non-citrus fruits like berries, melons, and apples into your diet. Eggs are very high on this list, as they are one of the most common allergen for a lot of people with eczema. The most problematic part of the egg is definitely the egg white. While egg yolk doesn't cause problems for most people, it is good to keep in mind that conventionally raised chicken will produce eggs with unfavorable omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. This will act pro-inflammatory in the body, on top of the pro-inflammatory nature of animal-based products. Choosing high-quality eggs, eaten in limited amounts or avoiding them completely is your best choice, if you notice your eczema reacting to it. Incorporating omega-3 rich alternatives such as flax seeds, or chia seeds, in smaller amounts, or fatty fish, should provide similar nutrients for your body. Tomatoes are one of the most mentioned foods to avoid when it comes to eczema. The evidence is not very clear about what exactly causes tomatoes to be such a big deal for people with eczema. It's likely a combination of various compounds which lead to flare-ups. By eliminating tomatoes from your diet, you will most likely see a noticeable improvement. Finding a replacement for tomatoes can be challenging. Red bell peppers are a viable option, generally better tolerated than tomatoes. Despite being better tolerated, keeping the consumption moderate is advisable, since both tomatoes and red bell peppers are part of the nightshade vegetables. Next up is gluten-containing foods. Gluten is known for its role in making leaky gut worse, leading to immune system activation and inflammation. Wheat is the primary source of gluten, with barley and rye containing smaller proportions, often making them better tolerated by many. Fortunately, there are plenty gluten-free alternatives like quinoa, rice, millet, oats, and more, providing suitable options for those who need to completely avoid gluten. Soy products are very often one of the foods you should avoid in nearly every eczema list out there on the internet. The reality is that soy is a known allergen, and as such, quite a lot of people react to it. While there doesn't seem to be a direct link to eczema, soy can cause an increased allergic load on the body, weakening the ability of your body to deal with the eczema. This simply means you might be completely fine eating moderate amounts of soy, not triggering any reaction. If soy makes your eczema worse, good replacements could be lean poultry, fish, legumes, as well as nuts and seeds. Enjoying the video so far? Hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. Doing so will allow us to help even more people. Processed foods often contain additives, preservatives, and artificial ingredients, which negatively impact our gut and indirectly make eczema worse. Processed foods should not be a part of a healthy diet, especially when you are trying to overcome a condition like eczema. The best way to improve your diet is to completely avoid processed foods and focus on whole, natural foods instead. Peanuts are one of the most common food allergens. Peanuts also have relatively high anti-nutrient content and contain significant amounts of omega-6 fats. Given that excessive omega-6 intake promotes inflammation, it's advisable to consume peanuts in moderation, even if well tolerated. For similar nutrient profile and added benefit of decent omega-3 content, walnuts or chia seeds would be a great option. Kiwi fruit is another food you should be rather careful with. Kiwi is very similar to citrus fruit when it comes to its connection to eczema. Much like citrus fruit, it is very acidic, with compounds that very often cause itching. On top of that, kiwis are also known allergen for many people, not only with eczema and asthma. Luckily, there are plenty options when looking for a good replacement. Berries, melons, apples, papayas, or pineapples, just to name a few. Last but not least, we have alcohol. Drinking alcohol has multiple direct effects which worsen eczema, and as such I couldn't help myself to not include it in this list, despite it not being food. Alcohol dehydrates the entire body the more you drink it, which includes the skin too. The quality of your sleep also suffers massively, and we should also mention its impact on immune system, which is weakened after dealing with the consumed alcohol. While nuts and seeds are generally healthy, there are two main issues we should know about when it comes to eczema. Their anti-nutrient load is relatively high, and their fat profile is unfortunately leaning quite heavily to the inflammatory omega-6 side. We can dampen these negative effects by focusing on omega-3 rich nuts and seeds, like walnuts, chia seeds, and flax seeds. Anti-nutrient load is going to be a very minor issue if the amount of nuts and seeds we consume remain modest. Nightshade vegetables like tomatoes, bell peppers, eggplants and potatoes are often mentioned as foods to avoid. Tomatoes even deserved its spot in our list as a food that should be potentially avoided, but not all nightshade vegetables are made equal. While I would suggest you to limit consumption of nightshade vegetables to modest amounts, people often tolerate much higher amounts of bell peppers than tomatoes, and there is a lot of people who have no issues with potatoes in their diet. Meat is a great source of high-quality protein. Unfortunately, it does come with some drawbacks. Meat comes packaged with pro-inflammatory fats, especially when the meat is cheap and low quality. Meat also influences our gut microbiome, pushing it towards inflammatory state. While for athletes, meat plays a role in their diet, for others, especially when eczema is present in the body, meat should be a very small part of your diet. You should focus on incorporating fatty fish into your diet, which, unlike the regular meat, can help your body heal eczema. High histamine foods, including fermented items, contribute to eczema symptoms in people with leaky gut. Once the gut is leaking, histamine from food is not broken down completely and gets through to your body and start causing havoc. High sugar intake is linked to increased inflammation in the body. It promotes inflammatory state in the gut, while lacking any significant amounts of vitamins or minerals. That is the reason why sugar should be severely limited or even completely avoided. There is plenty of fruit options you can eat instead, which are sweet too, but contain plenty of vitamins, promote healthy microbiome and overall health. The list of foods to avoid consists of foods which people with eczema react to most often, but it doesn't mean you will necessarily react to all of them. If you tolerate some food from the list without any reaction, keep it in your diet, with the exception of alcohol and processed foods, of course. The list of foods to limit explores the most common foods which can be problematic if consumed in excess, especially while your gut is fragile and requires some healing. More videos are coming. Subscribe if you don't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.